Good afternoon actually. Welcome, it's Nick Pendergast here from Clarity Kent Counselling, and as promised I wanted to jump on today on the 1st of October, if you like, the advent of World Menopause month, and to talk a little bit about low mood. And it was quite amusing when I came on. I thought I actually want to refer to some notes this morning, because what I don't want to do is to have a memory lapse or kind of poor concentration and actually forget what I want to share with you. So bear with me. So today, talking about low mood, and I describe it a bit like that roller coaster of emotions. And I wonder if you, during your perimenopause and menopause, are struggling with your mood, because sometimes it can feel like 1 minute we're up and everything's great, and next minute we kind of come down off that roller coaster and we're thinking, well, are we mad? Are we going mad? Are we sad? And we can feel like we're all over the place. And as I like to describe it, it's that craziness of midlife. And the focus for me, which has been around that psychological impact of menopause. And I wonder who's with me with that. And it may felt like in the past it's been easy for those closest around us to kind of follow our mood. But now it really feels to be quite erratic, and those highs and lows are really quite unpredictable and tricky for us to make sense of, and for others to make sense of too. So I know, and I've felt this way too, is what's gone through my mind is, are we depressed? Are we going mad? Or is it the annoying pesky hormones at play? So during our midlife, it can feel like a real confusing picture, whether it's to if we're moody or actually whether we are depressed, and I'm going to come on to that. And I think what's quite interesting too is during our midlife, past trauma that maybe we've buried down begins to kind of surface, and it can feel like a bit of a kind of collision between sort of trauma raising up and menopause. And this too can create underlying anxiety and what I would describe as reactive depression. And I wonder who's with me on that as well. So I think it's important to make a distinction, as quite often during midlife, if we present with low mood, potentially, and I say this potentially, a GP may prescribe us with antidepressants. So it's key to distinguish between a sort of persistent low mood, aka depression, that kind of goes on for a number of weeks, or a mood, as what we can quite often experience during midlife and during perimenopause and menopause, are those highs and lows that could be those pesky hormones at play, which can be often referred to as a sort of a flatlining of our feelings and emotions. So fluctuating energy levels and motivation dips and peaks, as I like to call it. So sometimes it can feel like, well, I can't be asked to do kind of mood. A feeling like you're going through the motions and kind of existing and not really finding the joy in those sort of day-to-day activities. I wonder if this resonates and anyone is with me there. So some tips and tools coming from me. So first of all, it's a kind of a don't panic. You're not alone. You're not going crazy, and it's not going to feel like that forever. But it's to kind of get a sense of why we do feel so moody, and it is down to our hormones. So let me explain. So estrogen again perks up and signals the production of serotonin. And again, did you know that 90% of our serotonin again is produced in our gut? So for those of us who may have digestive issues, that's an interesting point. But serotonin is another mood booster. So as our ovaries are gradually, stopping producing as much estrogen and progesterone too, our moods can swing backwards and forwards, each time our body adjusts to a decrease in hormones. So therefore you might find that, if you're still sort of cycling, that you may lose your temper for a week or two, and then it gets better. So perimenopause and or menopause, because I like to couch it that way, induced anger can feel different, if you like, to a normal strop. It can come out of nowhere. We've been there. And you can switch from feeling quite calm to kind of that sort of gritted teeth and getting quite annoyed in a matter of seconds. But the same may go for feeling sad too. So there are those emotional shifts which are different from a depression, where an incredibly low mood is, as I said, constant for 2 weeks or more. So let me get on to what can we do to help our mood. So here are some ideas and steps you can take to balance your hormones and help deal with your mood swings. And these are things that myself, having gone through the menopause and being a menopause therapist, I'm doing myself. So this is a little bit of me walking the talk. Now, I don't know if you can see, but my husband sharpened some knives a couple of days ago, and then I put my finger in a bowl full of hot water and took the top of my finger off, but that's another story. So let me get on to the tools and techniques. First of all, I think it's important to say accept and be kind to ourselves. So self-compassion all the way. So yes, what we're experiencing is incredibly uncomfortable, but it is completely normal. So this kind of, it's not your fault, it will pass. So what I quite like to do is to write a post-it note and stick it to my bedroom mirror that says, you know, it's not me, it's my hormones. So be gentle with yourself. The other thing I like to say, it's let it out. Better in than out, as they say. So the people closest to us will not have telepathy. They can't second guess how we're feeling. So let them know, those closest to you, how you are feeling. Explain it as best as you can. Maybe why you felt teary, why you were moody, why you got angry. Tell them what you need, whether that's some time out, some space, an ear to listen to you, or maybe it's a hug. And actually that's where therapy can help too, to let those feelings and emotions out in an impartial space. Really to acknowledge the psychological symptoms of our perimenopause or our menopause, and that's where I can come in to work with you to identify tools, tips and techniques to manage them, and plus a kind of a dose of self-compassion too, and self-care time for you. So get trigger happy. I think it's also quite interesting to see, is there a pattern to our mood swings? So grab yourself a 6-minute diary from Amazon and get journaling to look at what's going on for you. I call it getting out of your head. So it could be things like what you ate yesterday, what your sleep pattern is like, how much exercise you have done or haven't done, and how you felt at various times of the day. And if notebooks don't float your boat, then maybe find a perimenopause, menopause app, and who knows what you might discover to help balance your life. And I would say give Louise Newson's The Balance app a try. Breathe. Now we're breathing all the time, aren't we? But it may be time to integrate some relaxation into your day. And I always say self-care all the way. So these are some things that I'm advocating for, which is yoga and meditation are a great way to untangle your mind. Even if you just sit comfortably for 5 minutes and breathe in for a count of 6 and out for a count of 12. And by and large, your frayed nerves will benefit. A helpful one that I found quite recently, and I'll comment to this shortly, and I've taken up Qigong, is to breathe in for a count of 6. Hold your breath for a couple of seconds. Just kind of imagine that you're sort of bobbing about on water, kind of, I don't know, in a river, in a lake, in warm water. And then breathe out for a count of 6 and do the same thing. Just hold your breath and imagine you're just sort of bobbing up and down gently on water. Qigong typically involves meditation, coordinating slow flowing movement, deep rhythmic breathing, and being in a calm meditative state. So I've started Qigong classes and it's been brilliant. You can join a local class or you can find plentiful videos on YouTube as well. Food, what we eat. Have a turkey sandwich. Now that might sort of fear horror in you, but yes, Christmas is only 8 weeks away, so certain foods can help with our perimenopause or menopausal mood swings and make them more bearable. So we're talking the complex carbs of oats, quinoa, protein-rich foods, your eggs, your turkey, your cheese, and your omega-rich packed fish, which can really help stabilize our blood sugar and help our mental state as well. So if you can afford it, then maybe invest in a great nutritionist as well. And think veggies too, those leafy greens. find the right meds if, and I caveat this with, if this is right for you. And I'm saying that with the caveat, if you've tried everything and your mood is consistently getting worse, then do chat to your GP. Now, whether it's how to control your mood swing naturally, then HRT can help for low mood. But go along and talk to your GP. They are the experts, or an HRT menopause specialist, if you can afford it, of course, and they can find the right course of action for you. Now, if your mood symptoms are related to the menopause, then research has showed that HRT can be more effective than antidepressants. But ask your GP, talk to them about what could be more suitable for you. Supplements. Now, I'm a big advocate of supplements too. Invest in a good multivitamin. Think magnesium for sleep. I take magnesium 3 times a day. And again, back to those to the fish as well, and omega-3, which is good for fats for sustaining and managing energy, because supplements can really feed our cortisol levels, which can kind of fluctuate during perimenopause, menopause, and can help combat aches and pains as well. Thinking about exercising. So, maybe exercising when we're in a low mood is not the first thing that comes to mind, but exercise can release endorphins, which is your own sort of brain's own brand pick-me-up. So think about what you can do. It may be 20 minutes of exercise. It could be an online exercise. It could be going swimming. It could go in for a brisk walk. But think what you could be doing, and sort of strength and body weight exercise is great too. Dare I say it, as I come towards the end of this live, is see if you can stay off alcohol for a bit or go sober. So alcohol, as we know, depresses the central nervous system and can affect our mood. So whilst it's maybe the one thing that we really want to do at the end of the day is to have a nice glass of wine, it can sabotage the body's ability to sleep properly. Lowers our serotonin level as well, and it can intensify negative feelings and reduce our inhibitions. So I said, go sober if you can, or limit your intake of alcohol. See it as a foe rather than our friend. And finally, see if you can stick to a routine. When we are feeling low, it's easy to let the normal routine slide, and then we can get into a bit of a vicious circle, especially when it comes to the basics of what we're eating and our sleep pattern as well. So try to stick to a schedule with meals. It might sound strange, but low mood often leads to a loss of appetite, which then means we can forget to eat properly, or we can kind of skip meals. So we're not feeding our body the good stuff that it needs to function properly, and it will not help our head too. So again, make sure you can go to bed at a similar time. Put your phone down, have a bit of a detox, maybe stay off the TV just an hour or so before bedtime, because that sort of blue light, radiant light can affect our mood and affect our sleep cycles too. So I hope that's helped today. Kicking off, we're looking at what we can do about our low mood, and I will be back on Monday, and I'll pop up a recorded video actually about brain fog too. So look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now.